Thank you for inviting me to speak to you briefly today. I'm joining you from Delta, which is on the traditional territory of the Musqueam and Tsawwassen First Nations here in British Columbia. En juillet 2023, j'ai repris le dossier du sport, mais cette fois avec une responsabilité de plus, celle de l'activité physique. Le sport et l'activité physique sont inscrits dans nos lois et nos politiques depuis un certain temps, mais c'est la première fois qu'un seul ministre est responsable des deux dossiers à la fois. From the perspective of active and healthy living, this allows us to streamline our approach to align the work of the Public Health Agency and Sport Canada and to better serve stakeholders. And I'm very excited to have the opportunity to advance broader public health objectives through an integrated and fulsome approach to sport and physical activity. And of course, this includes concussion management in sport and recreation. Concussions are a widely recognized public health issue and can have debilitating as we've heard, short-term and long-term effects on brain health. More than 40% of child and youth injuries treated in emergency departments are sport and recreation related, and concussions are amongst the most common. On top of this, contact sports, namely hockey, rugby, and ringette, results in the highest proportion of traumatic brain injuries, which include concussion. So that's why during my first tenure as sport minister from 2015 to 2017, concussion was a huge priority for me personally and for our government. I very much believed and continue to believe in the need for a responsible, coordinated approach to the treatment of concussion that would keep athletes safe. This includes not only the best medical approach to concussion management, but also a consistent approach across the country and across sports. At the time, policies and management protocols across the country varied significantly, and targeted education and prevention measures that destigmatize and incentivize the reporting and management of concussion in sport were also lacking. The kind of tough it out, suck it up management to what we know to be a serious brain injury could not continue. We needed to go really beyond, raising awareness and talking about it to taking concrete action. With funding from the Government of Canada in 2017, parachute leaders in injury prevention developed a suite of resources, including what we now know to be the Canadian Guideline on Concussion in Sport. This investment also supported the development of return to sport and return to learn strategies for parents, students, and stakeholders, resources for medical and health professionals, the School First Project, which provided teachers and school boards with best practices for students returning to school after a concussion, and the Concussion EdApp, which really helps parents manage a child's concussion. I'm very pleased that these guidelines and resources help Canadians develop strategies and take action. The progress has been significant. For example, as of 2021, all federally funded sport organizations are required to have a concussion policy, including a specific return to sport protocol compliant with the latest Canadian guideline on concussions in sport. This will ensure that NSOs will adopt the best tools and training to address concussion. And this was put in place, as you all know, to protect participants, but also to guide coaches, volunteers, physios, sport therapists, and everyone else involved. And as new research and new evidence and new ideas emerge, we've got to be ready and willing to innovate. Since returning to this file 6-7 months ago, my priority, I'm back in the concussion business. My priority has been to ensure the safety and well-being of all Canadians in sport. I'm committed to ensuring that all members of the sport system are supported and that meaningful and impactful changes are being made. I recently announced a series of actions to address systemic maltreatment and abuse in sport because I strongly believe that our sport system must be grounded in human rights and put safety at the core of decision-making and accountability, and that we need culture change within sport. And this includes continuing to advance the important work being done on concussion in sport. Last December, so last month, the Minister of Health and I announced close to $250,000 in funding to Parachute to update the Canadian Guideline on Concussion in Sport and other key concussion resources. These updates will consider new recommendations that were presented at the International Conference on Concussion in Sport held in Amsterdam in October of 2022 and recently published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine in June of 2023. So the new recommendations, again, you all know this, include updated age-appropriate tools to identify and manage concussions, stronger evidence on the importance of light intensity exercise in the first 48 hours of a concussion to support recovery, and the specific challenges of preventing and managing concussion in persons with disabilities. I'm glad to see that we're progressing in this area, having the necessary policy tools, the right training methods, equipment, and behavior in place at all levels of organizations will really help keep participants safe. To complement and further inform the progress that has been made so far in concussion awareness, the Public Health Agency of Canada and the Canadian Institutes of Health Research continue to conduct injury surveillance and research on concussion. Over the last 5 years, HR has invested $54 million in research on traumatic brain injuries, including concussion. This includes a $1.5 million 5-year network catalyst grant to Dr. Keith Yeats at the University of Calgary to establish the Canadian Concussion Network, which I'm super excited about. Additionally, after launching an innovation challenge in the summer of 2022, seeking new solutions in concussion detection to prevent severe health outcomes associated with concussion, FACT selected 3 finalists, and the winner will be selected this year, so stay tuned. So lots going on in this space. We have strong ambassadors, but we have to continue to find ways for this information to be shared across the sports system, as Jen said. How do we continue to support athletes in making choices that are not only in their best interest, but also make it easier for people? Sport can totally be a leader in this space. We have the infrastructure, we have the networks, we have the information. We can set up proactive and preventative safety practices, and we all have a role to play in this. I really cannot say that enough, how important it is for all of us in the system to get behind these efforts. Chaque jour, je vois tout ce qui est positif dans le sport et pourquoi le sport est si important pour tant de gens au Canada. Le sport peut transformer les vies. Tout le monde au Canada souhaite et mérite de faire du sport dans des conditions justes, responsables, inclusives, et par-dessus tout sécuritaires. So that's the sport I want for my kids. And I can tell you in another time, Deborah, about my journey with my daughter having sustained a very severe concussion in an accident, and she was a dancer, and we went through a 5-month process where she didn't go to school. She was under the care of a pediatric neurologist. She basically had to learn to dance again. Very scary times, and I think parents just need the best information we can give them to make the best choices. So thank you again for inviting me to be here. I look forward to your insights. Keep up the very good work, and congratulations on how far we've come so quickly.